All right, guys. So if there's any takeaway from what's going on right now with this Russia-Ukraine situation that we'll probably be talking about for a few weeks here, is that elections have consequences, right? Elections have consequences. I think a lot of people are regretting their choice to go to the ballot box and to vote against mean tweets, right? All of a sudden, mean tweets don't seem all that bad, okay? In comparison to Vladimir Putin being empowered and basically invading sovereign countries because we have a weakling in the White House, or at least that's part of the reason why. Okay, I think a whole lot of people want the madman back in office. And there's this video clip out there of Trump actually discussing this situation in Europe that really is prophetic at this point. I mean, the guy was a prophet. He was a businessman through and through, and he knew exactly why Europe being so reliant on Russia was a bad idea. Okay, and I'm telling you, what is happening right now is probably the single biggest campaign ad for Trump in 2024 that basically I've ever seen, right? I mean, a lot of people probably looking like, damn, that guy Trump, right? He's seeming like a real good option right now for 2024. So with that being said, we're going to get into that, okay? Because Biden's getting embarrassed on the world stage. It's absolutely, it's crazy. But before we do that, I just want to let you guys know that if you like my commentary, you like my channel, you want to support my channel, my commentary, you can do so using the links in the description below. You can support the Patreon, you can support the PayPal, you can support the merch. There are multiple ways to support, including getting yourself one of these racist mugs, which is my latest passion project, in which I remind you guys on a daily basis what the definition of racist is in 2022, which is basically anybody who disagrees with the Democrat Party. So without further ado, let's play this clip of Trump while he was in office discussing the dangers of Europe being so reliant on Russia and how we need to negotiate some better terms with Europe in regards to security. Take a look.
I think it's very sad when Germany makes a massive oil and gas deal with Russia, where you're supposed to be guarding against Russia, and Germany goes out and pays billions and billions of dollars a year to Russia. So we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting all of these countries, and then numerous of the countries go out and make a pipeline deal with Russia, where they're paying billions of dollars into the coffers of Russia. So we're supposed to protect you against Russia, but they're paying billions of dollars to Russia, and I think that's very inappropriate. And the former chancellor of Germany is the head of the pipeline company that's supplying the gas. Ultimately, Germany will have almost 70% of their country controlled by Russia with natural gas. So you tell me, is that appropriate? I mean, I've been complaining about this from the time I got in. It should have never been allowed to have happened. But Germany is totally controlled by Russia because they were getting from 60 to 70% of their energy from Russia and a new pipeline. And you tell me if that's appropriate, because I think it's not. And I think it's a very bad thing for NATO, and I don't think it should have happened. And I think we have to talk to Germany about it. On top of that, Germany is just paying a little bit over 1%, whereas the United States in actual numbers is paying 4.2% of a much larger GDP. So I think that's inappropriate also. You know, we're protecting Germany, we're protecting France, we're protecting everybody, and yet we're paying a lot of money to protect. Now, this has been going on for decades. This has been brought up by other presidents, but other presidents never did anything about it because I don't think they understood it or they just didn't want to get involved. But I have to bring it up because I think it's very unfair to our country, it's very unfair to our taxpayer. And I think that these countries have to step it up, not over a 10-year period, they have to step it up immediately. Germany is a rich country. They talk about they're going to increase it a tiny bit by 2030. Well, they could increase it immediately tomorrow and have no problem. I don't think it's fair to the United States. So we're going to have to do something because we're not going to put up with it. We can't put up with it. And
yeah, so again, that is basically an election ad for Trump in 2024 if he decides to run. Because, I mean, everything this guy is saying was 100% right, especially when it comes to Germany, okay, who really is suspect in a situation like this, okay, because Germany is heavily reliant on Russia for energy, particularly natural gas. And the reason why is because they've gone woke on climate, right? This thing that John Kerry was telling Putin to worry about, okay, that's the reason why we kind of in this situation, okay? Partly because Germany decided that, hey, we're going to scrap nuclear, we're going to scrap coal, we're going to scrap fossil fuels in general. And they're going to focus on renewable energy sources, right? In an attempt to go carbon neutral by 2045. Okay, now where natural gas plays a part is that natural gas is seen as a transition energy source, right? Because the emissions from natural gas is like half of coal, right? So until then, hey, you know what? We're going to scrap nuclear. We're going to be more dependent on natural gas until we can actually rely on renewable energy sources, which are not reliable right now, right? Like solar, wind, and stuff like that. That's not reliable, okay? So they need natural gas in the meantime. And who are they dependent on for natural gas? Well, Russia, right? And they actually need more natural gas from Russia, okay? Not less. They actually need more. Okay, so that has created an interesting conundrum in which Germany is actually hesitant to stand up to Russia, specifically when it comes to Ukraine, okay? Because they're so reliant on Russia. They don't want to upset Putin, and Putin essentially cut off their life source, which is natural gas, right? And Trump, in that speech at NATO, okay, I think that was back in 2018, he was giving that speech. He was basically saying, listen, this ain't right, right? You can't be so dependent on Russia. You can't be so dependent on one of our enemies. And at the same time, you're paying them money, okay, while we have to foot the bill to protect you guys. This ain't no good deal for us, right? This ain't a good deal for us, okay? Now, Trump put sanctions on the companies that were responsible and contributing to the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, right, which was going to, again, make Germany even more dependent on Russia. And Germany, out of all the European countries, really wants it the most, okay? That's why they have been kind of like, we don't really want to deal with this Ukraine thing because, again, they don't really want to upset Russia, right? So Trump put sanctions on it. Biden gets into office. He actually lifted the sanctions for whatever reason. I don't know why. He claims it's in America's interest. I don't understand that argument. But I'm just saying, right? What Trump said back then, it showed you that this guy was thinking ahead of time and that he was thinking strategically about how Europe is becoming too reliant on Putin. And lo and behold, this right here happens where Putin invades Ukraine. And now when we're talking about sanctioning Putin, we can't really impose all the sanctions that we would like to impose on him because Europe is so reliant on energy from Russia, right? So this is basically what Trump warned about, right? This is what Trump warned about, okay? And again, this is all the more reason why we should be more energy independent, right? We should be pumping our own oil out the ground, building more nuclear plants. We should be energy independent, okay? That's what should happen, right? And speaking of that, Joe Biden is such a clown, right, on the world stage that even Saudi Arabia came out and was like, yo, we don't really like this guy like that. Right, in regards to whether or not they're going to produce more oil in response to what's going on with Russia and Ukraine.
What we're now looking ahead to is we're waiting for remarks from the U.S. President Joe Biden. One of the measures he might announce is the release of a strategic reserve of oil and gas. And the United States is a producer of crude. But will he then be, in your view, on the telephone to the king or the crown prince to talk a little bit about whether or not they too can help out by pumping out more oil?
Yeah, I think we have to put things into context. Last year, President Biden blamed the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the fossil fuel at the climate summit. And subsequently, Francois, 1 week later, he asked Riyadh to increase its oil production to lower the prices of oil. And it was a way to throw the blame on Saudi so he can cover up his primary responsibility for all his missteps after he knocked down the U.S. shale oil industry. So
are you saying that the Crown Prince won't pick up the phone?
It's not about picking up the phone. The U.S. will always remain as the most strategic ally, not only partner, to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. But at the same time, the current administration has made a lot of mistakes against the custodian of the two holy mosques, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the center of Islam, by calling it a pariah. So you call Saudi Arabia a pariah the moment you don't think you need it, and the moment you need Saudi Arabia, you call it a partner. Saudi Arabia doesn't like to play these games. So I think the United States, the ball is in the court of the United States to rectify the trajectory of its conception.
Okay, so I want y'all to understand. Biden is probably going to go sucking up to Saudi Arabia and asking them to produce more oil. Now, up until this point, Saudi Arabia actually hasn't been doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? They were supposed to be increasing production, but they really haven't been, which is why gas prices have stayed elevated. Gas prices were actually supposed to go down because OPEC production was supposed to increase. So up to this point, Saudi Arabia hasn't really been playing ball with Biden, and you can kind of see why, right? They're kind of pissed off at Biden because he dissed them at the climate summit, right? So it's like, no, we pissed at you, okay? So we're in this interesting situation because we're not actually energy independent, okay? And we don't produce enough of our own oil and natural gas, which we should be doing, but we don't. We're dependent on countries like Saudi Arabia and Russia, right? And in a situation like this, we can't even sanction Russia in regards to their energy, because if we did, basically that would drive up the energy prices around the world even more, which would really, really, really hurt America, okay? So before we can do any sanctions on Russia when it comes to energy, we got to go to Saudi Arabia and be like, bro, y'all got to pump more oil out of the ground. What's up? Right? Y'all got to help offset whatever damage is going to be done by us putting these sanctions on Russia. But until then, you can't do anything, right? You can't really do anything. You can't really sanction Russia where it's really going to hurt, which is energy, right? Ain't it crazy how that works, right? And I want the takeaway from this, guys. I know this is confusing stuff, but I want the takeaway to be, we got to produce our own oil and natural gas, man. Like, we need to start producing more, okay? We can't be dependent on these other countries, right? That's how you put yourself in this situation, okay? This is how you put yourself in this situation. It's very simple. It's very simple. But something else that's also worth noting here is that there's an interesting article from the New York Post in which this guy apparently did like an interview or had some talk with Trump at Mar-a-Lago just a few days ago on President's Day, okay? In which, you know, Trump spoke about this current crisis, okay, and contrasted what he did and his approach to it to Biden. And apparently, allegedly, according to this article, according to one of these stories, Trump told Putin directly that, yeah, we'll attack Moscow, right, if you F with us, okay? So let's read here. Eager to draw a contrast with Biden, he told two stories relevant to the current crisis. Both involve his fight with NATO members that were not paying their agreed upon share of the common defense, especially Germany. Quote, I sent her a white flag, he said to former Chancellor Angela Merkel. She said, what is this? I said, it's a flag of surrender so that you don't have to go out and buy a new one. Hey, Trump telling Germany, look, we don't like this funny business going on here, right? We don't like the fact that y'all cozying up so much to Russia, but expecting us to defend you, okay? Trump is 100% right on this stuff, bro. We getting screwed over too much, okay? We getting screwed over. We getting taken advantage of too much out here. He also recounted an exchange in a Brussels meeting of all 28 members NATO countries where he was pushing for more payments, leading to the Australian leader to ask whether the United States would still defend those countries against a Russian attack if they didn't pay up. No, Trump said, he answered, we will not defend you. Okay, that's Trump basically saying, look, bruh, this is non-negotiable, okay? This ain't negotiable. If you want us to continue to defending you, you got to pay up. Again, especially considering how you're paying Russia, okay? You're paying Russia, okay? So you got to pay us if you want us to defend you against Russia. His answer led to public uproar that Trump was reneging on the alliance's Article 5 provision, under which an attack on one member is considered an attack on all, and what amounted to a deal. Trump later insisted he was not reneging, that NATO countries pony up more cash that now totals several $100 billion. Still eyeing his experience in the current fecklessness against Russia, he said NATO is a paper tiger. There are other stories making the rounds too, and they are even more provocative. One has it that Trump, noting that Putin seized land from Georgia when George W. Bush was president and seized the Crimean Peninsula when Barack Obama was president, warned Putin against a land grab on his watch. Quote, if you move against Ukraine while I'm president, Trump is said to have told the Russian leader, I'll hit Moscow. Ding, 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 ding. Okay? Again, I don't think it's a coincidence that Putin did not try this under Trump. Okay? I don't think it's a coincidence. I literally think that Trump told Putin, yo, if you try to take Ukraine, we gonna F you up. Okay? We'll go to war. Now, listen, does that mean that we want war? No, that doesn't mean we want war. But it's the threat of war, okay, that keeps people from doing what Vladimir Putin is doing right now, okay? Doesn't mean he will actually do it. I don't know if he will actually do it because, again, that would be World War III. But I'm just saying it is the threat of, no, we will go as far as we need to go. That keeps people from doing this type of stuff, okay? It's very simple. Peace through strength. Putin reportedly scoffed, no way, leading Trump to say all those beautiful golden turrets will be blown up. Bruh, oh my God, this story is amazing. A similar story involves Chinese President Xi Jinping. It was during his visit to Mar-a-Lago in 2017 when Trump famously interrupted their chocolate cake dessert to declare he had just ordered the U.S. Military to fire 49 Tomahawk cruise missiles at a Syrian airbase after the Syrian government used chemical weapons against rebels and civilians. During the same visit, Trump reportedly told Xi that any military move against Taiwan will be met with an attack on Beijing. Xi, like Putin, is said to have been stunned. Though it is possible neither man believed Trump was serious, it is a fact that neither man made the moves Trump is said to have warned against. Again, I believe it. Right? I believe it. Okay, I believe that Trump definitely probably told him, look, if you make moves on Ukraine or Taiwan, we just gonna attack your capital, right? We gonna come in guns blazing. Look, again, do I know if Trump was serious or not? Do I know this is true? I don't, right? But it didn't happen under Trump's watch. And that's because Trump is a madman, right? And when you have a madman, a calculated madman that is, that deters things like this from happening, right? But when you have an old, sleepy, guy that's not mentally there, other world leaders feel emboldened, right? They feel emboldened to make moves they otherwise wouldn't make, okay? So that being said, again, Trump, bruh, a lot of people don't realize this man was so right on so many different things, after this disaster of the Biden administration. I'm telling you, what's happening right now is sad, it's unfortunate, but it really is the biggest campaign ad for Trump in 2024. A lot of people gonna look back and say, hey, this guy was right about a whole lot of stuff, right? I mean, we all knew. I mean, you guys watch my channel for the most part. Y'all already knew what was up, right? Y'all already knew that Trump was right on a lot of stuff. But hey, not everybody understood that. I hope they understand that now. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.